Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I do appreciate you stopping by, and if you are a current subscriber returning to watch my reviews and videos, I really do appreciate it. I know I say this every time, but I really do. Also, if you are a viewer returning to watch my Skywalker Saga reviews, I really do appreciate that as well. And if you haven't seen the earlier ones or you've missed some, I have a playlist, so go check that out. Today is May 6th. I think the way the Star Wars thing goes is May the 4th be with you, Revenge of the 5th, Return of the 6th, something like that. So today I will be reviewing Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. This is also a Steelbook film review, so I will be going over that very quickly, and then we will be getting into the main review. Here's the cover for the front of the Steelbook. I really like it. The yellow eyes really stand out visually. The white and the gray color actually shows up really, really well. This Star Wars title is embossed. Here is the back cover, which I really like this art style. It looks like a photograph, but it also is kind of like painted looking. I like it a lot. I really like the blue color scheme. This is definitely one of my favorite steelbooks for the Skywalker saga. This is the inside art. I would have preferred it to be a little more, like the contrast to be better and a little brighter. It feels really, really dull to me. This Blu-ray is not the one that came with this steelbook. Like I said in my other reviews, I replaced the Blu-ray discs that came with the steelbooks with a Blu-ray version of the films that is the original release of these films, because I hate the re-released versions where Lucasfilm and Disney added in a bunch of unnecessary changes and effects that, for the most part, make the films worse. So that wraps it up for the Steelbook, so let us get into the review. So straight off the bat, this movie starts out in a great way because it picks up where we had those questions of like, oh no, what's gonna happen to Han Solo? I mean, that was probably like the biggest thing on people's minds when this movie came out. You're immediately invested emotionally with this film. Jabba's palace is quite interesting because it's kind of creepy and unsettling. Everything's like grimy and dirty, and there's a cast of characters that are creepy and weird, and some of them are actually kind of scary, especially for children. Princess Leia goes in disguised, and she actually does free Han Solo from the carbonite. They caught her trying to rescue him, and then they turn her into Jabba's personal slave girl, which I'm not sure how I'm going to review this part, so if the editing is weird and choppy, please forgive me. It's just because I'm trying to make this somewhat less awkward. The whole Slave Leia thing, I'm conflicted about because she is incredibly beautiful. You have her in a bikini, and she's got a great body. She's very physically attractive. She's beautiful. She has that like helpless damsel in distress thing going on. To most boys going through puberty watching the Star Wars films, that just spikes their interest levels and that sort of thing. I know it did for me. I remember the first time I ever saw her was actually the cover for my friend's DVD collection, and it was this cover, and I remember seeing it and just being like, oh my gosh, like, wow, what is this? She's beautiful. What are these feelings I'm feeling? Like, I'm 12 years old. I was really secluded from this type of thing at that point in my life. That was my first time with the fascination and interest in not only, I'll use the term adult things, if you get my meaning, but also just the physical beauty of the female form. And I understand how it's an iconic part of pop culture. But when I was watching it today, I started thinking, like, we really shouldn't be sexualizing her because she's being exploited, and her character is having this done to her as like a demeaning act. So it's weird. So I'm kind of conflicted on like the physical side of things, but then mentally it's like we're not condoning it or anything, but instead of being like, oh man, she's in peril, it's more like, oh damn, she's sexy. Honestly, I'm surprised with all the changes Lucasfilm has made, and especially Disney owning it now, that this scene hasn't been greatly edited or completely removed from this film. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if, like, in the next 10 or 15 years, it is removed. Anyhow, moving on from all of that, there's a great action scene that follows with Luke Skywalker in the Rancor pit. The special effects were great for that day, and even now rewatching it, even in its original form, it is very impressive, and it's a great tense little action scene. Then immediately following that, we get this great tense action scene involving our main characters who are going to die. And the audience was introduced for the first time to a green lightsaber. I read that this was mostly done because they couldn't use a blue lightsaber with the blue skyline. So they thought, hey, Luke has a new lightsaber because he lost the one in Empire Strikes Back, so let's make it green. So now we have another color, and I think it looks great in this movie. Boba Fett is taken out super fast. Again, like I said in my last review, I don't understand why he was such an important piece of pop culture and why the Star Wars fandom has such a love for him. I just don't understand it, and the fact that he's hardly in these movies at all makes it even more weird. There are some great special effects in this movie, and one of them involves this speeder chase on Endor with Luke, Leia, and these speeder bike troopers or whatever they're called. Every time I watch it, I'm like super engrossed in it. I don't know what it is about it that draws me in so much. I don't know if it's because the special effects are really good or it's visually exciting, but I love when a film can do that without me being brought out of the film and being like, oh, that effect looks terrible, because it doesn't in this movie. It looks really, really good. We finally get to see the Emperor in this movie, which is really our first real look at him in the original trilogy. He's actually pretty scary. I always found him way more scary and terrifying than Darth Vader. I love the whole Emperor being a villain in this film. That's one of my favorite parts, which means now I have to talk about my least favorite part, and the part about the original trilogy and maybe the series as a whole that I absolutely hate. I absolutely hate the Ewoks. It makes this movie so childish, like out of nowhere. The tone in this movie, up till about an hour in when we're introduced to the Ewoks, is very consistent. It's got good tension, good drama going on, good pace, and then we're met with these Ewoks, and at first they're kind of cute, they're kind of fun, but then George Lucas decided to turn them into a huge part of the plot, and as the scenes go along that involve the Ewoks, it just gets more and more ridiculous and retarculous, which means I don't know if I can say that word, but you know what I mean, and ridiculous. Put them together and you get retarculous. So yeah, it just gets worse and worse, and I really can't stand it because it makes a film that I do enjoy, it drops it on like my rating scale by at least 2 points. There's an action scene involving the Ewoks. They're literally taking out stormtroopers and their heavy machinery with like rocks and logs and rope. Like, it's so dumb. Like, I could go on about how much I seriously hate this part of the movie. I hate the Ewoks. Honestly, it ruins this film for me. Also, the characters of Han and Leia during these scenes, all of a sudden, they just feel really, like, stupid. I don't know if that's just how I kind of take it, because the rest of the movie during that part is stupid and lame, or if the characters really are. I wasn't going to rewatch it because I hate that part of the movie, but that's kind of just how I took it. The redeeming part of the ending of this movie getting totally destroyed because of the Ewoks is the scene taking place with the Emperor Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, and the Emperor trying to stir up Luke's anger and hate and want for revenge, I guess is a good way to put it, because his friends are in a trap and he wants to help them and protect them. And here is the most evil being in the galaxy and his apprentice, Darth Vader, right there. And he has the chance to take them out, and he has to suppress those emotions. And it's one of my favorite parts of this film. It's one of my favorite parts of the original trilogy. You get a couple great lightsaber fight scenes between Vader and Luke during this. Luke finally snaps when Darth Vader mentions that he knows Luke has a sister and he's going to hunt her down. It's a great part of the film. I don't really have that much negative about this film to hate on, other than the Ewoks. I don't like the Ewoks here or there. I do not like them anywhere. It's a green eggs and ham reference. Also a reference to my first Star Wars review, so go check that out. So yeah, my personal rating for this movie, on enjoyment factor, for me, I would probably give it 6 or 7. It would be an 8 or a 9 if it wasn't for the stupid teddy bear Ewoks. I hate them. I've said this the whole review. I hate them. For rewatchability, again, because of the stupid Ewoks ruining this movie for me, I'd probably give this like a 6. Like, I can go years without watching this film, and I really don't care. For the film as a whole, again, the Ewoks, it detracts so much from this film, like story-wise and tone-wise, that I think as a film, this is like a 6 or a 7. That about wraps it up for this review. Comment below what you thought about this movie, what you thought about my review. What do you think about the Ewoks? Comment below and I'd be very interested in reading it. Like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. It helps me just get out there more. This is what I love, is reviewing movies, and every subscriber I get counts. So I would really appreciate it if you subscribe. Thank you for watching this review. This has been the 6th installment in my Star Wars Skywalker series review. Stay tuned for tomorrow, May 7th, with the 7th film in the franchise, The Force Awakens. Thanks for watching. May the Force be with you always. Goodbye.